لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It's another day of our sensitization program, the first 10 days in Dhul Hijjah. Of course, we know that these days we are encouraged to do a lot of good deeds, one of which is feeding people. Normally, some of us will take our time to say, okay, I've had enough, let me also, feed others. Not necessarily even having enough. Once you have, like in our earlier episode, say once there is a food enough for 2 people, it can even be enough for 3. And we hope that we remember that hadith where some Sahabas came to visit Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he pretended he was eating, covered his plate, all those are ways of encouraging us to perform acts of good deed. Of course, we know that in this present situation, there are a lot of people in want, and for us to earn multiple rewards, we should make our time to also consider them and feed them periodically, and that's our focus on the program today, first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. Let's take some sound bites from people out there. It's interactive, and then of course we say thank you so much, Jazakumullah Khairan, to Aspira Nigeria Limited and ZSF for supporting this program, and of course product support from Right Food. When we come back, it will be time to start the studio interaction. We'll be back shortly.
I
am basing my talk today on feeding of the poor and the needy, especially in the first 10 days of the Hijjah. It is a very meritorious and recommended sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that when the first 10 days of the Hijjah are here, we engage in these activities. One of it is the feeding of the poor and the needy, especially in this time in our nation where there is hunger everywhere. Everybody is hungry and there is poverty in the land. I want to encourage all of us to ensure that both those who are closer to us in our environment and those who are far away, we should engage in their feeding. We should give them our widow's mite. We should, as much as possible, ensure that they take the much needed food the way we take it as well. And I pray and I believe that Allah shall reward you abundantly for it.
Let's enjoy this happy day. Eid Mubarak.
As this year's Eid al-Adha gets closer, many families won't be celebrating since there is no means.
The Eid is around, and we are so happy that the Eid is around. Many Muslims are happy, while several others are not happy because they do not have the means to slaughter ram. Why not let us join the Prophet ﷺ in his own Qurbani way, the way he slaughtered his own ram? He bought one for himself and bought one for several people that will not be able to make it. Now, we can as well do that. We've started these projects over the years in Zakat and Zakah Foundation. Our approach is that we gather this money, we encourage people to buy their own and buy for those who not hand. So please join this project by making your own donation. You can decide to buy a cow, you can buy ram, you can buy sheep, and you can as well make a donation. Nothing is too much and nothing is too small.
Your donations and contributions will go a long way to put smiles on the faces of many Muslims and their loved ones. Qurbani Project today and help make many Muslim families happy. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Enjoy this happy day. Eid Mubarak.
Welcome back. The program is first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. Thank you to our partners and supporters on this program. And joining us in the studio are in-house stars, Dr. Mustafa Adebayo Bello. He is of Lagos State University, Department of Religious and Peace Studies. You're welcome to the program.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
And thank you very much for making our time to join us in the studio. You heard my intro. I mean, feeding souls, feeding people. How do we correlate that with the Islamic tenets?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Islam is a religion that caters for everybody, and Allah knows that by nature, we are not endowed equally. There are persons who have more than what they can even need, and there are others who don't have anything at all. And Allah says in the Quran, it's a manifestation of the will of Allah that I have not endowed all of you equally in terms of resources. So the need for those who have to give to those who don't have. We have discussed it while we are discussing zakat and sadaqah. But today the focus is on using the food as a means of meeting the needs of the less privileged and the vulnerable members of society. In fact, in the Quran, there are about 8 or 10 places, close to 10 places, where Allah mentioned the power of food, how we can use food as a means of seeking nearness to Allah. We should not forget the ayah that I've been quoting in the past episode, where Allah says, وَابْتَغُوا إِلَيْهِ الْوَسِيلَةَ. I mean, look for a means of seeking nearness, approach to Allah. And one of such ways is to give food to people who are hungry. In Surah Al-Balad, where Allah was talking about Quran, that ayah, that verse says, فَلَا أَكْتَامَ الْأَقَبَةِ, that who amongst you wants to tread the path to salvation, the path, a steep path that once you get there, all doors of mercy will be opened to you, and all doors of perdition will be shut down. And the Quran says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ. How do you know that path that is so lofty that once you get there, you have no reason to fear or to be afraid of, or to be sad? And the Quran went, Allah says, Fakul Rokoba, that the first stage, the first thing you can do to attain that stage is Fakul Rokoba, is to free a slave, remove the shackles of bondage from the neck of a slave. But if you cannot do that, he said, Amun fi yawmin zi masigaba, is to feed the people in the days of hunger. So one of the ways of seeking nearness to Allah is to feed the poor.
Okay, very well said. Good preamble. You know, in Islam, there's no excuse to say, okay, for instance, you are living in a gated estate. Who do I feed now? Everybody is well to do here. They say in Islam, you don't necessarily wait for people to come and beg. It is your responsibility to look out for those in need. That if you are living in an estate, go to somewhere like, Makoko, Ajegunle, Agege,
Yes.
What's the wisdom on it?
Yes, we should not. In fact, we should also not do it. We should not take up the responsibility of feeding the poor when we also are seeking the face of Allah for a particular thing. Okay. I tell people, don't wait until you have
not for political reasons.
Maybe you have bad dreams. Okay. And you have now gone to consult, and they now tell you go and feed the poor, and you are now
slaughter a ram or slaughter something.
It shouldn't be that. We should cultivate the periodic. Even I tell people who earn salaries that at the end of the month when you earn your salary,
set some aside.
Just find a way of people. They are bound everywhere.
Of course.
So you cannot say because you in your own neighborhood is a gated environment and everybody seems to have more than enough. There are other places. Go to them. So that when you are in need, you will not require to be running helter-skelter and be looking for beggars to give money to or to give food to. We should cultivate an habit, of feeding the poor all the time.
Okay, of course, this program is coming within the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. In a nutshell, tell us some of those meritorious acts we should engage in, even though our clerics on the field, they have copiously said that. We want to hear your sound bite on this beyond feeding the people.
The first thing is family bonding. The family bonding, we've discovered because of times are hard, mothers, fathers, everybody is on the right race to make ends meet. This period of the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah is a period where we have to devote more time for the family. Family bonding is a way. In fact, the Prophet said, a morsel of food that you put in the mouth of your wife is even sadaqah. Okay. So those who don't come home early, I want to encourage us to please go home early. Let your parents, the children and the wives, let them see you often now. Secondly, we should do a lot of glorification of Allah. Okay. It's a period of glorifying Allah, if not for anything, for keeping us alive. In spite of all the difficulty, economic recession, we are still alive. And the best way to do it, the Prophet said the best invocation in this period is to say, La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika la, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir.
Please translate.
La ilaha illallah. There is no God but wahdahu la sharika la. He is one, and he doesn't have associates. Lahul mulk. To him belongs all authority. Wa lahul hamd. All praises and thanks are due to him. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'. He has capability over all things. So we should say this often and often in this period up till the time, the day of Arafah, until the time of Eid. We should do it. And we have mentioned it, feeding the poor and the needy. Those who are around us that we know that, oh, they are less privileged. We should at this time, extend the hands of fellowship to them, hands of kindness to them. That is not all. Fasting. Fasting, well, for those who cannot fast from the first till the night, yes, we should be warming up. Because by today is 7th, by tomorrow it will be 8th, and that will be Yawm Tarwiyah. That's the date when today is the 7th. Tomorrow is going to be 8th. So it's going to be, that 8th of Dhul Hijjah is Yawm Tarwiyah. Is the day where when all the pilgrims will leave their different hotels and abode in Makkah and start moving to Muna. And from that day, they will stay in Muna, and by the morning of on the night, they will be in Arafah. And before they now leave. So it's a period that for those of us who are not there, we should also join our hearts with them in preparing for Arafah. So a day like this, we should also, if you cannot fast today, but we must bring our minds closer to those who are in Makkah, in Hajj, performing Hajj, so that at least we can also be in line, we can be in the spiritual state of mind, preparing to fast on the day of Arafah.
Interesting. Still a lot to talk about this. It's exhaustive, really. Okay, let's go for a short break. We must appreciate our partners on this program. And we'll come back, we'll come and continue the conversation here, because there is still some issues that we need to clarify from our in-house stars, Dr. Mustafa Adebayo Bello. We'll be back shortly.
Taking care of the less privileged during the Eid al-Adha. Actually, is one of the verses of the Holy Quran that we should take care of less privileged. We should give alms to the needy, the travelers, those in captivity, those that are sick, and the old people. So, as one of the our duties as Muslims during the festive period, so we should take care of them. Actually, we're already planning to give out things to those in the captivity, as those that are in prison during this festive period. So we consider those that are in a national Nigeria Custodian Service, Kirikiri, and those that are in Badagry, to give them foodstuffs and ram and those things that we take care of, to cook during festive period, so that they too, they will not feel that they are not free, they are not at home during the festive period. So number 2 is we are considering the old people during this period, to give the cooked food to them during the festival, so that they too, they will know that they are part of us. And those that are unable to, that cannot afford to eat their 3 square meal, we consider them too. Those that are in the hospitals, we consider them too, that we give them things during the festive period. As Muslims, we cannot be eating and our neighbors will be hungry, or our friends. So we have to consider them too. So Those are the things that we are planning to do during the festive period.
Part of the first 10 days of the Hijjah, what is the significance of these days?
Be deliberate about your charity.
Some of the days that we are expecting to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
How many sacred months do we have in Islam?
We have Dhul, Dhul Hijjah, Muharram, and Rajab.
How are you preparing for Eid al-Adha, the biggest festival in the Islamic world? For answers to these questions and more, join us for our innovative and first of its kind television program tagged The First 10 Days of Dhul Hijjah. We also have a special edition of Arafat Day as we get to be enlightened on the various ways to prepare a sacrificial animal. It is interactive, innovative and participatory with gifts to win from our partners. The first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah will be broadcast at 3 p.m. all through from 1st to 10th of Dhul Hijjah on MITV. It is proudly supported by Aspira Nigeria Limited, Zakat and Sadaqah Foundation, The Right Foods. Eid Mubarak in advance.
لك والملك لا شريك لك.
La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah lahu mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. That's what we are encouraged to say this season. Amongst other azkar that we have to, seek glorification from Allah and then do other acts of ibadah. Welcome back to the program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you.
All right then. The needy. Sometimes even when you are not a needy and you are a wayfarer, a traveler, alhamdulillah that one is a Muslim. Because everything has been specifically, told us in Islam on how to do it. Yeah. And sometimes you can just be a traveler and you have issues.
Yeah.
You said you are encouraged to go to the mosque or yes, anybody. It's not now that we have insecurity all over the place that people can, pretend and what is Islamic position on this?
The disciple is when a Muslim gets to any place, the first thing is to look out for is a mosque, and Muslims like yourself. So if you have somebody who is stranded for reasons of journey and is a new place, in a strange place, he should, instead of approaching individuals, let him go to the mosque and let him explain. And I'm sure we know that already. Most of us will go to the mosque, we see things like that. This is a period that the wayfarer, we must take care of them. Because when you are a wayfarer, it doesn't matter your status. Mm-hmm. At your own place, you could be so rich.
Everything
you could be so rich
abundance.
Where you are coming from, and you become so poor suddenly because you are in a new land. So it becomes a responsibility to help such people at a point like this. And we should also know that, like we have mentioned, the issue of the giving to the poor, feeding the poor. I did mention before we went on break that there are several places in the Quran where Allah used the word food, not money, food, and that's why it's important. And that's why sometimes when you see government even giving food as palliatives, these things are from the Quran. That look, some people what they need is not money, is food. Food. Yeah, it's food. And the Quran has mentioned it in Surah Al-Insan. Allah was talking about people, they call them a special class of Muslims that the Quran describes as al-abrar. They call it the righteous Muslim. I said one of their characteristics is the fact that وَيُتِئِمُونَ عَلَىٰ أُبِّئِ مِسِكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. That they feed the poor, the needy, and the destitute. And when they are doing it, they say, إِنَّمَا نُتِئِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. We feed you to earn the pleasure of Allah. La nuridu minkum jaza'an wala shukura. We do not desire, reward from you, or even a mere word of thank you. So, when we want to do a work like this, you should do it selflessly.
Purify your intention.
Purify your intention. Do it selflessly. I remember there was a time, even during Ramadan, because when we see good things happening, we must share with our people. Somebody in Kano, a whole, expanse of land, I think a secondary school, drop bags of rice.
Anonymously.
And people are going there. And every day, when it's suspected, he will bring another one. And up till now, nobody mentioned the person. He said he doesn't want to be named. These are the things we should encourage.
Give it with your right and the left should not know.
Okay. So this is what we should encourage at this time.
Okay, this is very instructive. when people now know that there is free food, would that not encourage laziness? Because Islam does not even encourage begging. What's the difference?
There's a difference here.
Okay.
Regardless of how much we preach, issue of diligence, hard work, diligence, and we espouse all these virtues, there will still be persons who will be at the lowest ladder, help of our economic life. We should identify them. So as much as Islam does not encourage begging, but those of us who have, we have a responsibility to seek for them, to seek for people who are in need, so that they will not even need to beg. That is what we are saying. We should seek for those who are in need, who are genuinely in need, so that they will not even require to beg. And we know times are hard. So as much, and what to tell those who also come for hands is that there is no virtue in begging. There is no virtue. If you look at the Quran from the first chapter to the last chapter, from the first verse to the last verse, Allah did not mention anything about people, about the fact that there is a reward for people who receive. Allah is always talking about those who give. So as much as the poor should look forward to receiving, they should also find a way of improving their own law so that they can also give.
Okay. You know, part of the benefits that are here beyond feeding, that you can even earn reward. You just see some people working somewhere, you carry ice cold water to give to them to quench their thirst. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
Okay.
And you don't forget while we're discussing Sadaqah, anything that brings relief to people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's correct.
Okay. You know, you said it earlier that people sometimes seek this for recognition, and you even made a reference to the man that dropped food in Kano. But there are some people who, out of just the publicity of it, or like the Yorubas will call it Ojo Aye, and they just want to do that. Meanwhile, it's just that praise they need. Their family is in want. What do you tell those people?
There are two ways to it. The Prophet said, he warned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Muslims should beware of a minor shirk. I said, what is called minor shirk? He said it's a it's eye service. When you do things, you want people to praise you. In fact, there is a popular hadith where the Prophet mentioned 3 persons who earned Allah's displeasure in hellfire. And even though they worked righteously, well, in their own estimation, they work righteously on earth. The first person is somebody who is a giver, who gives out things to people. And he died, and he came before the presence of Allah. And Allah said, you are here, what's your account? I said, oh, you know why our life, you gave me so much money, and I used the money to give so much, people, to feed people, to give. Allah said, yeah, you did it. Because you wanted people to praise you, and they have praised you. With us today, there is no reward for you, go to hellfire. So we must encourage those who give, that they should do it anonymously, the life for Allah. And for those who you mentioned, those who leave their family, the first generosity you can do starts from your family. And that's why the Quran will always talk about Zawil Qurba. When it talks about charity, you start those who are close to you. The closest person to you, your wife, your children, they must have enough. At least something sufficient for them to live, to survive. You don't leave them and you now carry the food to some persons.
Okay, as we round off, there is this hadith in a way that Islam does not even encourage begging, that somebody came to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then also encouraged that person, even if it's to go and cut firewood to earn a living. Buttress on that.
Yeah, there's a dignity of life. The Prophet mentioned, in fact, there's an hadith in the collection of Imam Nawawi that even prophets of Allah, Dawood, used to eat from his sweat. That the best food earning you can have in your life is from your sweat. So begging is not encouraged in Islam. Even though people are using the disposition of Islam to give in as an excuse for them to engage in begging, it is not allowed in Islam.
All right, I think if you have any final word on this, the focus has been feeding people as we have it in Islam for these last 10 days. First 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. And you know, just like we say that Ramadan is a training period, this period should also train us so that even after this period, we can emulate or engage in all these acts, meritorious acts.
I think is to address those who have, to appeal to their consciences that if you want your wealth to multiply, if you want your investment to multiply, and if you don't want to be bankrupt, Allah, the way to it is to give to the poor. Allah says, that when Allah tests human beings and shrink his wealth, and he keeps on complaining to everybody, my Lord has disgraced me. Allah said, he does not know because he has not encouraged the feeding of the poor. So one of the things you can do to yourself negatively, which can lead to either losing your investment or that you become stagnated in your business, is not to learn how to give out. So if you want your business to flourish, to multiply, your investment to multiply, please give to the poor. Give to the as much as possible. Don't wait to the time when you have problem, when you now have issues. And you now start slotting around and you're now looking for beggars to give to. And that would not be meritorious because you are under.
It's conditional.
It's conditional. So that's what we're saying.
Dr. Mustafa Adebayo Bello, Senior Lecturer, Department of Religious and Peace Studies. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, our question for the day. What is that hadith that specify the best charity in Islam? Quote the hadith that specify the best charity in Islam. Give away. All the questions are giveaway. Because in the spirit of give and take and charity and everything, that's why we feel that it should be interactive and you should also benefit from this program. Special thanks to our partners, Aspira Nigeria Limited, makers of Fizz and Viva Detergents, and Zakat and Sadaqah Foundation, who has also endowed us with gifts that you have been winning and taking away. Yes, let's do this again tomorrow. It's gradually a countdown now. Eid is around the corner. Hope you are preparing. We have a special edition for you on that. And of course, on Arafat too, we have a special edition. Let's do this again tomorrow when we shall bring you a fresh edition from the studios of Ames Media Company Limited. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.